Today we are going to go on a safari. Welcome to Schlauraff Park.
You may be thinking, what is a community, and why should I care what a community is? Well, we're here to give you the answer.
A community is a biotic component of our ecosystem that consists of a population of different species that live and interact with one another in the same area.
Interactions occur every day in our ecosystems, and they are important in defining the relationship among different organisms. There are two ways of describing interactions: intraspecific and interspecific.
In intraspecific relationships, interactions occur between two of the same species, whereas in interspecific relationships, the interaction occurs between two or more different species. Community interactions also come in three ways: competition, predation, and symbiosis. Let's take a look.
What we're seeing is an example of competition. Competition is the interaction of species who challenge each other for a common resource that is limited in supply, such as food, nesting sites, or territory. In one way, species can interfere with one another by alternating the resource-attaining behaviors, such as when a gorilla displays aggression to another gorilla to show dominance over a mating partner.
In another way, an individual is decreasing the amount of resource available for another species as they compete for a common resource like territory, prey, or food. Simply put, the use of the resources by one individual will decrease the amount available for other individuals, over time resulting in the superior species eliminating the inferior species.
Every act of competition comes with a consequential result. Possible outcomes include one species competitively excluding another, either species win based on population densities, or coexistence between species occur. Along with that, competition results in evolution of traits that create distinct differences among the competing species. In natural selection, competing species are more specialized, which allows them to live together without competing for the same resources.
Let's look at another interaction in our ecosystem: predation.
Predation: an individual, the predator, kills and eats another individual, the prey. This usually occurs between interspecific relationships. Change in a population of one species can correspond/affect another species population.
As prey population rises, the predator population rises too, due to a higher food source. Therefore, this causes prey population to then decline. Pattern is then repeated, as shown in the graph.
The results of predation led species to evolve and gain adaptations to their environment. The way that species are able to adapt to their environmental surroundings is by natural selection. This is where the organisms that have the best survivability traits produce offspring. Evolutions of prey traits leads to evolution of corresponding traits in predators. For example, newts gain ability to produce toxin, leading to its predator snakes produce resistance to toxins.
Moving on to symbiosis. It is considered as direct contact between two species in which at least one species benefits. There are three types of relationships within this topic: mutualism, parasitism, and commensalism.
Mutualism is when all the individuals are being benefited from the interaction relationship.
There are two considerations. One, obligate mutualism is where species cannot survive without relationship. Two, facultative mutualism is where species can survive individually when separated.
Commensalism is where one species benefits while the other is not affected or harmed, usually for feeding, transportation, or habitat purposes.
Parasitism is when one species, the parasites, benefit from another species while harming it in the process. Parasites can be found within or outside of the host's body, weakening them.
In all types of symbiosis, coevolution is occurring. What is it, you might ask? It's a result of evolution when species interact. This makes each species an important factor in the natural selection of other species that are present in the community.
In mutualism, for instance, plants have evolved flowers with traits that promote pollination by particular species. Pollinator species, in turn, have evolved traits that help them obtain pollen or nectar from certain species of flowers.
An example of coevolution of natural selection in commensalism happens when species of bacteria evolved into the ability to live inside the human body without harming it. Coevolution in parasitism is when a host of a species evolves and gains defenses against a parasite, thus making the parasites evolve ways to evade the host's defenses.
We are getting close to the end of our time together, but before we go, let's put things into summary.
No organism lives in isolation. Species live together in an ecosystem and are constantly interacting. They depend on one another as they are all critical for each other's survival. Coevolution and natural selection are occurring at a regular pace as a result from the relationships that species have with one another. As each species fights for survival and production of offspring in the acts of competition, predation, and the three categories of symbiosis, community dynamics are being shaped.
We too, as humans, have tremendous impacts on the functioning and health of the ecosystem. We are predators when we hunt, kill, or eat other animals, such as fish or deer, or when we eat chickens we have purchased at the grocery store or a restaurant. We have mutualistic symbiotic relationships when we are using dogs, cats, or fish as pets. Interspecific competition is also occurring between humans when we fight for resources, like gas for our cars, or even mating partners too. These are all community interactions. And that concludes the tour of Schlauraff Park.